Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria, a name that would one day strike fear into the hearts of many. But he wasn't born a monster. He started as a boy in rural Colombia. Born in 1949, he grew up in the town of Rio Negro. Life was tough. Poverty surrounded him. Young Pablo was ambitious. He yearned for a life beyond poverty. His first crimes were small-time. He stole tombstones and sold them. He was always looking for ways to make money. His ambition would lead him down a dark path. This path led him to the drug trade. In the 1970s, cocaine was becoming a big business. Escobar saw an opportunity. He started small, smuggling cocaine paste from Peru and Bolivia. He quickly rose through the ranks. His ambition was matched by his ruthlessness. He was a natural leader. He had a charisma that drew people to him. He was also incredibly violent. He was not afraid to use force to get what he wanted. This combination of traits would make him one of the most powerful criminals in history. Escobar's rise was meteoric. He built a vast empire on cocaine. He smuggled tons of it into the United States. The money poured in. He became one of the richest men in the world. He bought lavish properties. He owned planes, helicopters, and even a zoo. His wealth was unimaginable. But it was all built on blood and cocaine. He controlled every aspect of the drug trade. He had his own processing labs in the jungle. He had a fleet of planes to transport the cocaine. He even had submarines. He was unstoppable. His power grew with his wealth. He corrupted officials. He intimidated judges. He even bought politicians. He became untouchable. He was the law in Medellin. The Medellin cartel was born from ambition and greed. Escobar and his associates controlled everything. They were responsible for 80% of the world's cocaine supply. They made billions of dollars. The cartel was a well-oiled machine. They had a sophisticated network of smugglers, assassins, and informants. They operated with impunity. They ruled through fear and violence. They targeted anyone who stood in their way. Judges, journalists, politicians, nobody was safe. They used car bombs, kidnappings, and assassinations. They instilled terror to maintain their grip on power. Their violence knew no bounds. They bombed Avianca Flight 203, killing 110 innocent people. They detonated a bomb in front of the DAS building in Bogotá, killing dozens. They were at war with the Colombian state. Colombia was in the grip of terror. Escobar's violence reached unprecedented levels. No one was safe. He declared war on the government. He wanted to avoid extradition to the United States. He used his wealth to influence the people. He built houses for the poor. He funded schools and hospitals. He wanted to be seen as a Robin Hood figure. But his philanthropy was a smokescreen for his brutality. The government was struggling to cope. They were outgunned and outmaneuvered. Escobar seemed invincible. He had an army of loyal followers. He had corrupt officials on his payroll. The violence escalated. Bombs exploded in cities. Politicians were assassinated. Journalists were silenced. Colombia was on the brink of chaos. The world watched in horror. Section 5. Plata o plomo, the ruthless tactics of a drug lord. Escobar lived by a simple code, plata o plomo, silver or lead. He bribed those he could. Those who refused his money faced his wrath. He was responsible for the deaths of thousands. He had a network of assassins. They were known as sicarios. They were young men, often teenagers, drawn to the cartel by the promise of money and power. They were ruthless and efficient. They carried out his orders without question. They were responsible for countless murders. They instilled fear in the hearts of the Colombian people. They were a symbol of Escobar's power. He used his sicarios to eliminate rivals. He used them to silence critics. He used them to maintain his grip on the drug trade. They were his instrument of terror. They were a key part of his success. Section 6. The Colombian Robin Hood. Escobar's complex legacy. Escobar's legacy is complex. He was a ruthless killer. He was responsible for the deaths of thousands. But he was also seen as a hero by some. He provided for the poor. He built houses and schools. He was a product of his environment. He grew up in poverty. He saw the inequality in Colombian society. He exploited this inequality to gain power. He used his wealth to buy loyalty. He wanted to be loved by the people. He wanted to be seen as a man of the people. He used his Robin Hood image to deflect criticism. He wanted to be remembered as a savior, not a villain. But his violence overshadowed his charity. He left a trail of blood and destruction. He destroyed families. He destabilized a nation. His legacy continues to haunt Colombia today. Section 7. The walls close in. The hunt for Pablo Escobar. By the late 1980s, the pressure was mounting. The Colombian government, under pressure from the United States, stepped up its efforts. They were determined to bring Escobar to justice. The manhunt for Escobar was intense. Colombian police and special forces were relentless. They raided his hideouts. They seized his assets. They arrested his associates. But Escobar was always one step ahead. He was a master of evasion. He had a network of informants. He paid off police officers. He used his wealth to stay ahead of the law. He was a ghost, always present but never seen. The United States joined the hunt. They sent in DEA agents and special forces. They provided training and intelligence to the Colombian authorities. They were determined to extradite Escobar to the United States. In 1992, a special unit was formed to capture Escobar's search block. This elite force was trained by the United States. They were equipped with the latest technology. They were tasked with one goal: to hunt down Escobar. Search block was relentless. They raided Escobar's safe houses. They captured his associates. They put immense pressure on the drug lord. They were closing in. Escobar's empire began to crumble. He was losing his grip on the Medellin cartel. His lieutenants were turning on him. He was becoming increasingly isolated. He was on the run. He was forced into hiding. He moved from safe house to safe house. He was constantly on the move. He was separated from his family. The pressure was taking its toll. As Escobar weakened, a new threat emerged: Los Pepes. This vigilante group was made up of Escobar's enemies. They were ruthless and determined to destroy him. Los Pepes were responsible for a wave of violence. They targeted Escobar's family, friends, and associates. They bombed his properties. They murdered his lawyers. They were a force to be reckoned with. The government turned a blind eye to their activities. They saw Los Pepes as a necessary evil. They believed that the enemy of their enemy was their friend. They were willing to let Los Pepes do their dirty work. Escobar was caught in a bloody war. He was fighting on two fronts, against the government and against Los Pepes. He was losing control. His empire was crumbling around him. On December 2nd, 1993, Escobar's reign of terror came to an end. He was tracked down to a middle-class neighborhood in Medellin. He was cornered in a safe house. A firefight ensued. Escobar and his bodyguard exchanged fire with search block. They fought desperately, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Escobar was shot and killed on the rooftop. His death was met with mixed reactions. Some celebrated the death of a monster. Others mourned the loss of a folk hero. His death marked the end of an era. The Medellin cartel was dismantled. Colombia could finally begin to heal, but the scars of Escobar's reign of terror would remain. Escobar's death did not bring an end to the drug trade. New cartels emerged. The cycle of violence continued. But Colombia had changed. The country was determined to move on. They implemented new policies to combat drug trafficking. They strengthened their law enforcement agencies. They worked to address the root causes of violence. Colombia today is a different place. It is a vibrant democracy. It is a growing economy. It is a popular tourist destination. But the memory of Escobar still lingers. His legacy is complex and contested. He is a symbol of both the best and worst of Colombia. He is a reminder of the dangers of inequality and corruption. He is a cautionary tale about the seductive power of money and violence. Escobar's story continues to fascinate the world. He has been the subject of countless books, movies, and TV shows. He has become a cultural icon. Some glorify him as a Robin Hood figure. They point to his charity work. They admire his defiance of authority. They see him as a symbol of resistance against oppression. But others condemn him as a ruthless criminal. They remember the victims of his violence. They denounce his legacy of terror. They warn against romanticizing his life and crimes. The truth, as always, is more nuanced. Escobar was a complex figure. He was capable of both great cruelty and surprising generosity. He was a product of his time and place. His story is a reminder that the line between good and evil is often blurred. It is a story that continues to resonate today, long after his death.